17, I believe, in a thing called love. So clearly, we're looking for the Love Totem now. It's your boy Icon with some DC TV. And in our last episode, Lex Luthor had reformed himself. And he showed himself to Mixley. When he shows himself to Mixley, he's just like, oh, I'm here. He actually said he was from the future. He said that when he battled with the Super Friends when they were in the Fortress of Solitude, and like I said, I still don't remember what happened. Like, I gotta go back and find out what happened to him. But he said, like, when he got blasted by all the Super Friends, that it basically sent him to the 31st century, which is where Brainy and the Legion of Superheroes are from. So he had said to Mixley, he said that he's here to save her because in the 31st century, the two of them fell in love. And her pursuit of the totems in the future led to her ultimate downfall, and she died. And because, she was the love of his life, he couldn't bear, to stand the thought of her dying. So he basically goes back in time, and he was actually perfectly fine staying in the 31st century, but he goes back in time to try to prevent her death from happening before it happens. So now, of course, she's just like, oh, pitiful mortal man. She was like, I don't need you. And she's not trying to hear it. Like, she ain't trying to hear it. He's basically like confessing his love for her, and she's just like, oh, please. But he tells her that he can help her find the Love Totem, but she's just like, oh, pish posh, I won't have any of it. She's like, I don't team with mortals. And then, the other dude that's been with her the whole time, he's like, oh, what's Lex Luthor doing here? And then she was like, Lex Luthor, the same Lex Luthor that banished Supergirl to the Phantom Zone. And then she's like, oh, I hate men who banish women to the Phantom Zone, because that's what happened to her. So then Lex is like, you know what? I see that you're mad. I'm just going to go, and I'll be back. So he dips, he goes back to his house, and it was cool because he actually had like a green suit with the purple shirt. I thought that was a nice touch. The Super Friends, along with Lena's magic, they decide to use the energy from the other totems to create a fake Love Totem to lure Mixley into the mix so they can get the drop on her. So they end up creating the fake one. Lena uses her power. She takes all the energy from all the different totems. They make a fake totem. And after they make the fake totem, they plant it at some random location. They send a signal to Mixley so she falls for it. Mixley shows up to try to get the totem. The Super Friends show up, and then the fight starts. The Super Friends basically try to blast her. Lena used a magical spell to keep her trapped, to make sure that she couldn't use her power, like she couldn't use her fifth dimensional power or her totem power against them. And they did get her trapped. And they were at a point where they were weakening her. They were about to take her out. They were literally about to take her out. And then Lex comes out of nowhere, swoops in, and then saves the day. And then when Lena saw him, Lena lost her shit, because she's just like, oh, the last time I saw my brother Lex, we got rid of him, and now he's back, and it makes me angry. And because of her anger, her magical spell basically went out of whack, because like she said, her magic is tied to her emotions. So the fake totem ended up catching fire, and then that's how Lex and Mixley knew that it was a fake. But because Lex is from the future, he kind of knows everything that's going to happen already, but he's just allowing Mixley to go through the motions because he's trying to prove to her that he can be trusted, that the two of them can be together. But of course, she said she'll have none of it, and she whips herself away again. So she continues to try to get the totem, and it doesn't work. Finally, she gets to the point where she goes crawling back to Lex, and then she was just like, fine. She was like, as business partners, she was like, we'll team up, to help find the totem. So then he was just like, good, because he's like, the Super Friends are gonna find that shit tomorrow. And he's like, but we must prepare for battle. So now the Super Friends, they're trying to figure out how they can really get rid of Mixley once and for all. Brainy comes up with the idea, because he said the one thing we haven't tried yet is using the totems that we already have against Mixley to stop her. They said using the courage totem to suck the courage out of her, or using the hope totem to give her more humanity or whatever. And everybody was basically saying, they were just like, that's a good idea and all, but we can't really, it has to be done a certain way, because we can't really control the power, and we don't want to hurt people, due to the fact that we're trying to use the power against them. So the decision was made eventually that they were going to use the totems against Mixley, but they had to pass the trials again in order to activate the totems. And I was kind of mad at that, because Jean had volunteered actually to go after the courage totem. And they said that you must go back to the moment where you lacked true courage. And we saw that when Kara did it, it took us back to the pilot episode of Supergirl when she saved the airplane from crashing. And I still want to know what her lack of courage moment was, and we never got that answer. And I'm really mad at that. You know, the whole thing with John, the moment where he lacked true courage is when he ran like a coward, and then like his daughter and his wife and everybody, all his loved ones died. So that makes sense and all, but I'm just like, we already knew you were a coward. So it's like, that was a layup, you know, like saying like, I didn't want to see a layup. Like the Supergirl thing was a little bit more difficult, and I kind of wanted that. And damn it, I will hit Melissa Benoist up on Twitter just to ask her, what was the moment in the pilot where Supergirl lacked true courage? I really want the answer to this before the season's over because it's driving me crazy. But then, you know, so Jean ended up getting the courage totem, and then Supergirl got the hope totem. They end up using the totems as weapons, they power them up, and now they're ready to use them to stop Mixley because now the entire team has a plan about how they're going to take down Mixley. While all this is going on, Alex is actually trying to propose to Kelly. She purchased a ring and everything, and she was going to do a whole thing where she was going to go, she was going to rent, you know, like the diner or like the bar that the alien bar that they go to all the time. She was going to rent the bar, and she was going to have a party, and then it was going to celebrate like the moment that, you know, she knew she fell in love with her, and she was going to end up, you know, getting on one knee and proposing. She tried to get the room. The guy said that the bar was booked, and then Alex was getting flustered and she was getting angry about it. Alex makes one last ditch attempt to try to get the room. She goes back down to the bar, and then when she goes down to the bar, Kelly's there, both Kelly and SMA's there, and they decorated the bar because we find out that Kelly was the one that booked the bar because she had the exact same idea that Alex did, and she was going to propose to Alex. But Alex was like, you know what? You done took the bar thing for me. So she was like, you got to let me have this one. And Alex proceeded to get down on one knee and propose to Kelly. The Super Friends discover where the Love Totem is, and they go down to find the Love Totem. When they go to find the Love Totem, Mixley tries to get the totem, but then the totem disappears because what they said that it's a totem of love. It's a love totem. The totem's only going to be drawn to true love. It's not going to be drawn to hate. If anything, the totem's going to run from hate, and it's going to disappear and reappear in another spot where there's love at. So because Mixley's so filled with hatred, obviously the totem wasn't going to work for her. But then the Super Friends' plans went into effect, you know, thanks to Lena's magic, because Lena's magic was designed to protect Kara from the blowback of using the totem, because Kara said that she didn't want to lose her humanity in the process. So then the totem disappeared. Everybody didn't know where to find it. And then, you know, it was like everybody retreated and they went back to go do what they had to do. Come to find out now, the moment where, because Lex said he knew what was going to happen. He even told Mixley, he was like, you know, the totem's going to show up tomorrow, because he knew where it was going to be at. So he just tried to sneak it. He tried to get it in the church earlier, but, you know, but now but the two of them are a team now. And it now takes us back to the place where Alex and Kelly are. Since Mixley tried to take the Love Totem, and the Love Totem knows that Mixley's full of hate, it disappeared. And when Alex was at the bar, and she got down on one knee and she gave like the love speech and everything, and she went to go propose to Kelly, when Alex went to go pull her ring out of her pocket, she ended up pulling the Love Totem out of her pocket, because the Love Totem manifested itself, you know, into Alex's hands, and Alex now has possession of the Love Totem. So then Lex and Mixley show up because, you know, they're after the totem too, and then, you know, Kelly, you know, she busts out the shield, you know, they like Alex runs with SMA. SMA actually called the Super Friends. Supergirl and the gang show up, and then now everybody's fighting Mixley. So they're fighting Mixley, they're fighting Lex, you know, like Lex is off in the corner fighting Martian Manhunter. He gets taken out. Martian Manhunter, Supergirl, and Brainy, they use their totem power, you know, to blast Mixley and to take her out, you know, and it was working because, like, you know, she was, I don't know if they were trying to kill the woman or they were just trying to, like, suck her power. I don't know what they were trying to do, but they was about to defeat her. They were this close in defeating her, and then there was a moment where Alex had got knocked over, and she dropped the Love Totem, and the Love Totem actually fell right in front of Lex's hands. Lex could have grabbed the Love Totem, but instead of Lex grabbing the Love Totem, he actually used his teleportation device to save Mixley and to get her out of the building. During that whole event, the Love Totem ended up getting blasted and it got destroyed. So now we're back at, you know, Mixley and Lex's hideout or house or wherever the hell they were. And Lex is now using his power, you know, to bring Mixley back to life because she was full of like totem energy and everything. You know, the Super Friends now, they feel like, you know, we did it. You know, like, although we didn't destroy Mixley, you know, like we ended up like, you know, incapacitating her. The Love Totem is now destroyed. You know, like the other totem that Kara threw into the sun, like that shit's destroyed. So they're like, yo, we winning. So now let's just come together and help celebrate, you know, like Alex and Kelly's like engagement. And that's what they did. Brainy was the only person who really wasn't happy about it because first of all, he was upset earlier in the episode because he was just like, oh, I should have known Lex would go to the 31st century because it's a tech heaven. But then later on, after watching the selfless act that Lex did to save Mixley over the totem, Brainy was like, yo, something changed with him in the 31st century, but he didn't know what. And Brainy's actually going to try to, he's going to try to figure it out. Lena seems to have like her magic situation under control. And like I said, and now, you know, Kelly and Alex, you know, like they're engaged now and they're ready to be married. Jean is still dealing with the effects of, you know, of like his biggest failure. And we still don't know what Kara's courage thing was. And that still pisses me off. But then in the last scene, after Lex had saved Mixley, she was just like, oh, you know, like, why did you save me? Then he told her, he's like, you know, because I love you. He's like, I have feelings for you. And I hope that this proves that. She was like, it still don't because you're human trash. But she was like, we can work together as business partners. And he was just like, all right, whatever, woman, you know. But then he told her, he said that because he was just like, you know, in the future, he said that you do manage to put the All Stone together. And then she was like, well, how do I do that? Because Supergirl destroyed the totem. And she was like, oh, we've already lost the Love Totem. But he said that the thing with the totem, it's energy. It's not the totem itself. He said that although you destroy it, the energy always finds a way to remanifest itself. So the totem that Supergirl and them destroyed will eventually come back in new form. And then he said that the Love Totem will come back in a new form as well. And then she was like, how do you know this? And he was like, bitch, because I'm from the 31st century. And he knows where the Love Totem is going to arrive. And this is where the girl SMA's powers actually come into play. And I thought that was awesome writing. Because the girl has the power to mimic other powers, because she's feeling the love in the room, because she's in a family now with Alex and Kelly, because Alex and Kelly confessed, you know, like their love for each other, and the totem was present. The totem was in Alex's hand when the three of them came together and hugged each other as one big happy family. SMA accidentally copied the power of the Love Totem, and now the Love Totem is going to remanifest itself on SMA's back. I mean, having it come back on the back of her neck, I thought that was a little gross, but the fact that because she can mimic other powers, and they had her mimic the power of a totem that was destroyed because she was in its presence, I thought that was genius. So that was it, and thank you for tuning in. This was a good episode from a writing standpoint. I really liked how they pieced the whole thing together. Supergirl is ending, guys. I think we got like 3 episodes left, and I'm not ready. Like, I'm really sad to see. I hope Makad Brooks, I hope James Olsen shows up again. I hope he shows up in the season finale to go to Alex and Kelly's wedding. That's all I want at this point, because we can't stop the show from ending because the girl had already quit. They had already filmed everything. But leave your comments below. Like, what do you think about the episode? How are you enjoying Supergirl so far? How do you think the show is going to end? Where do you think it goes from here? And what do you think what happens to every character? In the second to last episode, I'm probably going to do like a prediction of where I think each and every single character is going to go. That'll be my whole thing. But, well, we're getting a 2-hour season finale, so I guess I'll do it the episode before the 2-hour season finale. But share your thoughts, where you think all this is going, and what do you think about having Lex back? And hell, does Lex show up on Superman and Lois? Because we need his desperately. Oh, the girl who played Lucy Lane in season 1 of Supergirl, I read that she's coming back to reprise her role as Lucy Lane, Lois Lane's younger sister, on Superman and Lois for season 2. And I'm excited for that because that woman is fine as hell. And it's crazy to me. And this is all I'm going to say about this, because if you go back to season 1 of Supergirl, the episode where Lucy Lane met Cat Grant, and I think I told this story before, and then, then Cat Grant was just like, who is this? She's like, I recognize 3 out of the 4 of you. Who are you? And then, she's like, hi, I'm Lucy Lane. And then Cat Grant's like, Lucy Lane, Lois Lane's kid sister. And then she paused and goes, well, congratulations, you got the looks. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So thank you for tuning in as always. Like I said, hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on Instagram. Share your questions, comments, and or concerns down below. And we'll continue to roll and up and away. So take care, guys. So till next week's episode of Supergirl, the Girl of Steel. And for love, take care. And I'm out this